Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are having a great time in learning R and Python. So far we have learned the basic data types including date and time, and we have also learned the vectors and the arithmetic operations. Before we proceed further to the next topics, let us try to test our coding skills that we have learned so far. So we are going to code for 4 of these questions that we have here with respect to vectors, indexing and arithmetic, and we are going to do both in R as well as Python. And all these questions I have already shared in the description below, so please do copy it from there and paste it in RStudio as well as Jupyter Notebook. So we have already learned how to comment using the hash symbol. If you just type hash, this particular line gets commented. Now if you want to comment multiple lines, the option that we have in R is select all those lines and then press Ctrl, Shift and C. C stands for comment. Similarly, you can comment these two lines as well. Ctrl, Shift and C. Alright, now let's get started. I would recommend if you could pause this video and try it at your end and see if you're able to solve it. If not, anyways, we will be solving it together in the next 5 seconds. Alright, I hope you were able to solve these problems. And in case you were not able to, don't worry, we shall solve them together. Alright, the first question is, create a variable A that has a sequence of numbers ranging from 4 to 50 with an increment of 4. For creating a sequence in R, we use the function seq, and then inside the parenthesis, since we are starting from 4, the first number will be 4, and then the second number, since we are going to end with 50, we can just type 50 here, and with an increment of 4, so the third number would be 4. If you do a tab here, you can see from, to and by. If you are writing all these numbers in that exact order, that is, the first number represents from, the second number represents to, and the third number represents by, then you don't have to specifically mention that this is from, and this is to, and this is by. So this is actually not required if you're writing in an order as given in the parameters. We also have to create a variable A. So let us assign this sequence to a variable A. Alright, and then let's also print A. Let me execute this line first. So once I execute this, A equal to sequence gets executed, and if I just print A, it gives me all these values with an increment of 4. Okay, the second one, what is the sum of the 5th and 10th element in A? So how do we do this? If we have to find the 5th element, how do we do it in R? With a square bracket, you type 5, and that will be the 5th element. And if you want to find the 10th element of A, it is just putting 10 inside the square bracket. And here it is asking for us to do the sum of these two. So we just have to add them. Once you click on the run button, it gives you the number as 60. So A5, which is this 5th element, and A10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 40. 40 plus 20 is 60. Now the third question is, except the 5th element, print all other elements in the above vector A. So if we have to remove the 5th element, which is 20 in this case, how do we remove it? If I just type A, all the elements get printed. If we have to eliminate one particular element, we just have to put a minus sign in front of it inside the square bracket. And since we want to eliminate the 5th element, we just have to put a 5 over here. And once we click on the run button, here if you see, this 20 is no longer appearing here. So here we had 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And now here, because we have eliminated the 5th element, it is just 4, 8, 12, 16 and 24 after that. So that's how we eliminate an element in R. So if you're not familiar with it, please do watch my previous tutorial on how do we remove an element in R. Coming to the last question here, except the 3rd and 5th element, print all other elements in the above vector A. So here we just had to eliminate one element. Now if we have to eliminate more than one element, then this becomes a vector. So if we have to remove 2 elements here, now here in this case the 2 elements are 3 and 5. right? And we have to put this inside our vector A. A and C, combining third and fifth. If I just combine these two inside A, what will it give me? If I execute this line, it just gives me 12 and 20, which are the third and fifth elements. But I don't want these. I want everything else but 12 and 20, which are the third and fifth elements. So all that I need to do is just put a minus over here. So the moment I put a minus, R will consider everything else except the third and the fifth element. So now if I execute this line, and here we have the output. So let me just type A again. So A is this entire sequence of numbers. And since we removed the third and fifth element, 12 is not appearing over here. And similarly, 20 is the fifth element, that is also not appearing over here. So this is how we eliminate the third and the fifth element in R. Alright, I hope you've got all these questions right. If not, don't worry. Once we solve more and more problems on coding, you will be finding yourself much more comfortable and at ease. Okay, now let's go to Python. So in Python, if we have to do a multi-line comment, select them all, and all that you need to do is control plus the slash. All the lines that you have selected gets commented. Alright, but a better thing to do here is you can probably put the remaining questions in another cell. So if I execute this line, Control X, Shift Enter, and Control V. Alright, now let me put some space over here. Okay, create a variable A that has a sequence of numbers ranging from 4 to 50 with an increment of 4. So in Python, we have learned that to create a vector, we have to import the numpy library. And we have learned that to create a vector in numpy, we have used the np.array function. But here, since we need a sequence of numbers, we cannot use np.array, because if we use np.array, we have to manually type all these numbers, right, from 4 to 50 with an increment of 4. So if we want these numbers to be auto incremented, just like we had the sequence function over here, so if we want to do something similar in Python as well, there is another function in Python which is np.ar, and if I just type the tab button, it is arange, np.arange. So if we select this, inside this bracket, all that we need to put is exactly these numbers. The first number, which is 4, the second number, which is 50, and the third number, which is the increment, which is 4. And then we have to assign this to a variable called A. And then once we print the variable A, we get the numbers as 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 up to 48. There's one other thing that we have to take note of over here. Had we put a 48 over here, and here if you see the number is 48 when we had put 50 over here. Now the moment I put 48 and execute this, it changes to 44. So the last number, every time in Python, only the number up to the last will get displayed, but the last number will never get displayed. And the indexing starts from 0. So please don't forget that. Let me change it back to 50. So in case you were not able to solve it, I totally understand, because I had not taught this in the previous tutorial. But I would suggest, just in case you get stuck anywhere, please search for help on the internet, because there are lots and lots of help available. Alright. Now, what is the sum of the 5th and the 10th element in A? So how do we do that? A in the square bracket. Now, since the indexing starts from 0 in Python, we have to say A and in the square bracket 4, representing the 5th element. And similarly, for the 10th element, it would be 9. And once we execute this, we get the same answer as we got here in R, which was 60. And except the 5th element, print all other elements in the above vector A. So if we don't want a particular element in Python, In R, we did a -5, but in Python, we have to use this delete method in the numpy library. And the way we do that is np dot del, and you click the tab button. And in the parenthesis, just to know what you have to put inside, click on the shift plus tab button and it will give you the options. So here the options are, inside the delete method we have to put these parameters. So ARR stands for array and OBJ stands for the object. All right. So here, since we want to use the array A and we want to remove the fifth element, which is nothing but the fourth index, right? Because indexing starts from 0. So the fifth element would be the element at the fourth index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And once we click on the shift plus enter button, here if we see 4, 8, 12, 16 and the 20 has now vanished from this array. So that's how we eliminate or delete one of these elements from an array using the numpy library. And similarly, for the next question, which is except the third and fifth element, print all other elements in the above vector A. So to do this, we again use the same delete method in the numpy library. We use the array A, and now since we are using more than one element, we have to pass it inside the square bracket, and here we have to specify the index of those elements. So the third element is 0, 1, 2. So we have to type 2 here, and the fifth element is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will be the fourth element. So whatever element is, you just have to put a -1 and indicate here, because the indexing in Python starts from 0. That is the only difference. Whereas here the indexing in R starts from 1. So that's why we have to put that exact number over here. But here we are using a minus to remove that element. Here we are using the delete function. All right, once we execute this, so again, if we see here 4, 8 and 12 has disappeared and 20 also has disappeared. So that's how we delete multiple elements from an array using numpy library in Python. I would be publishing more and more such exercises so that you get a very good grip of the coding, and also you would get an idea of when to use what function when you get stuck somewhere. So understanding the concept is good, but if we know where to implement or where to use those functions, that would be really helpful for us. So in the next tutorial, I would be explaining about how do we generate random numbers in R and Python, and then we'll again come up with the next set of exercises. All right, I hope you're liking my video. If you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, do post them in the comment section. See you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.